What's up YouTube? Today I will explain you why I'm a collector first and an investor second, but before I start talking about the video, please free to give it a like. I would appreciate that quite a lot. I put a lot of effort doing videos like this, so I think a like is more than fair from you, okay? But before I start talking about this video, and this will be quite a great topic in my opinion, let me do a disclaimer. No financial advice, my opinions are just that, opinions. This channel is about soccer cards, but a lot of my views can be applied to other markets. Prices or pop can eventually be wrong at the time you see this video. Don't feel proud if you made money in this market, everyone made. We had a super bullish market in the last year, but things change. No one can predict the market, especially short term. Fundamentals are your best friend in the long run. I don't believe timing the market, I believe time in the market. Keep in mind that I'm a collector first and an investor second. I look first at value instead of price. I share on the description two links, my Patreon and the eBay affiliated link. Any of those help the channel. You don't need to support, but if you do, thanks a lot. English is not my main language. Any types of mispronunciations, I'm sorry. So, again, today the topic is quite complex, to be fair with you, and I hope I can explain my thoughts very well. I will try my best. But collecting is the foundation. Look, my work on the soccer community is very respectable, and usually I got a lot, I would say a couple of DMs and comments praising my fundamentals when I try to define or assess value. I appreciate that. But I feel people don't understand why I'm at this level at this point in my life. I have experience in mainstream markets like crypto, stocks, bonds, etc. But I don't feel that's the reason for my success in the collectible market at all. Not saying is irrelevant, because that will be just stupid. My biggest advantage versus the regular investor, versus the regular market, is my time in the market, my experience in the market, my time collecting and not investing. So, again, I know this is basic stuff, but when you try to build a house, the first thing you need to do is make the foundation for the house. And this applies in any other hobby, in my opinion, in any other investment most of the time. You need to have your foundation needs to be stronger, and apart from that, you can build from there, okay? But let me explain you my foundation, actually. Collecting is a big part of my life. I started playing Magic late 90s, but the first expansion I actually remember quite well is Odyssey. In Portuguese we say Odisseia, and Magic the Gathering in a lot of ways changed my life. I played for a casual for a couple of years, like any kid, then I started going to my local store, then I had goals to qualify for the national, then I had a goal to go to my first GP, and things start going from there, okay? I played competitive online and physical for many years, and until today I follow the competitive scene. I'm not going to my local store anymore, but I still follow the competitive scene, and I still play online, okay? That being said, one of the things that was more important than the competitive side for me was the collecting side, the collectible aspect of the hobby. More than 20 years collecting at this point. Look, I have amazing memories from playing Magic the Gathering. Look, again, big part of my life. I end up putting this picture of the Psychotog, and I know most of you guys will not understand the reference, but my first competitive deck was the Black Blue Madness deck, one of the most broken decks at the time, and I still have great memories. I feel nostalgia for that. Look, I don't have Psychotog grade in a PSA slab, but I own the card. I have binders with Magic the Gathering cards, because again, is my collector side for this specific point in time that I'm talking right now, okay? Let me say just one more thing. Look, in this case, I'm doing Magic as my example, but if you collect Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or even sports cards, and I think this is a bigger thing in America than in Europe, I mean, it's not, I think it is a fact, you can relate a lot with this probably, okay? So, but moving on. Why was this crucial? Understanding rarity versus demand, understanding lineage and history. Collecting for 20 years made me see all the phases in Magic the Gathering. I remember at one point in time, Magic is dead. I remember another point in time, prices will explode. Magic will be the next big thing. Most of the time Magic was not that and prices not end up exploding. So you start seeing a lot of trends, and when you see a trend for the first time, you are quite shocked. The first time a couple of my friends said Magic is dead, I was like, yeah, maybe it is, to be fair. But when this happened for the second time, for the third time, for the fourth time, I was like, yeah, Magic is not dead. Magic is actually a great game, and this is actually a trend in the market. There is, again, a type of people tend to follow trends in this. Seems like there is, I would say, a seduction to be negative and another seduction to be very positive. I would say this is more like people follow trends, and this happens all the time in the markets. Understanding the investment side versus the emotional side. Print runs, reprint runs, reserved list. I started value collecting without knowing. I made bad trades, bad sales, lost focus, lost track, but I learned. Not buying when the set is released. In this case, hype-driven markets, when a new set comes into the market, okay? Again, let me explain all these points a little bit better because I went a little bit fast. So, understand rarity versus demand. I think this is quite fair. Okay, this is quite easy to understand. Look, when a card is a crucial card for a deck, for the competitive scene, that card tends to have crazy big demand and prices will go up. And automatically, you understand that if a lot of people end up wanting your card, that card automatically gets an increase in price, gets an increase in value, okay? Understanding rarity, okay? In Magic, at the time I collected, and I collected after that, to be fair, but at the time when I started collecting, the rarity was quite easy, was common and rare. Nowadays there is more rarities, but at this point, this for me was crucial as a kid, understanding that there is common things and rare things in the collectible side, okay? Understanding lineage and history. Look, when I started collecting on, let's say, 2000, for example, it was a little bit early, but let's say 2000. Look, Magic was out for, I believe, 6 or 7 years already. So for me, it was very, very important to understand the lineage on the Magic the Gathering sets, the history on the card game. And again, this actually can apply very well into the soccer market, for example. Collecting for 20 years made me see all the phases. Again, I already explained this. This is actually, you can apply this in the sports card world. Look, I remember at one point in the sports card world, everyone saying, look, soccer will be the biggest market in 1 month, 2 months. Look, some people actually had crazy takes about this. Maybe 1 month, 2 months, I'm over exaggerating, but let's say in 1 year. And look, probably that's not the entire truth. Probably, actually, soccer have crazy big potential. But when the markets went down, people said, yeah, maybe soccer is just a phase on the sports card world. You know what I mean? And look, the truth most of the time is in the middle. Okay, is not. I'm sorry. I need to explain this a little bit better. It's not that the soccer is a phase, because that's, I think, is very fair to say, but maybe soccer will not be the biggest sports card market in the world in 1 year from now. I mean, there is a lot of history in baseball, in other markets, so things take time, okay? And again, the truth most of the time is in the middle. Not all the time, to be fair, but most of the time is in the middle. And when you see, again, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit on this point because this point is crucial. When you see a trend for the first time, when you see a quote, a typical quote on the market for the first time, you tend to get a little bit scared, and this is when a panic sell or even a panic buy tends to happen. But when you see a lot of these trends year after year or months after months in a lot of markets, you are like, yeah, whatever, this is just another phase. That's why timing the market is very dangerous, but timing the market gives you a big advantage, okay? Understanding the investment side versus the emotional side. Okay, this is another important thing. For example, I bought a lot of cards that I knew the investment was not that great, but I had great memories since I was playing as a kid, okay? So understanding sometimes emotional investment investment is not always a good investment, and this is crucial to understand. Even in soccer right now, I still do it. Look, I always give this example. I have a lot of Ronaldinho cards. Look, Ronaldinho is my favorite player. Do I believe those cards will dramatically increase in price, or potentially go down in price? Look, going up, probably not. Going down, most likely, okay? Or at least staying the same. So it is what it is, but again, I'm not investing on them to expect a big return. I'm investing on them to feel my emotional side, I would say, okay? Prints runs, reprints runs, reserved list. Look, in Magic the Gathering, there is always the first print run on the set. Sometimes people think that the set is kind of over in terms of prints, and Magic the Gathering, Wizards of the Coast, they end up putting another reprint, and this this puts a lot of things in perspective for me at the time. That look, things maybe are not as rare as people tend to assess at the first time. Okay. Apart from that, in Magic the Gathering, we have one thing that is reserved list. Reserved lists are, I would say, old cards that will not be reprinted anymore. Okay, and this automatic makes them more valuable than I would say most of the cards, to be fair with you. For example, you guys at this point, at least if you are aware of TCGs, you know about Black Lotus. Black Lotus is a reserved list card, so there is no way they will reprint that card. When I say there is no way, keep in mind those things are a little bit tricky, because look, who knows if Magic the Gathering needs money and stuff like that. But at this point, seems very fair to say that there is no chance that they will print them in the near future. Okay, and of course this puts a lot of confidence in the market, especially on that side of the market, because look, if you have a reserved list card, look, that card, there is no reprint for them. That card will always have, I would say, a premium type of value. Okay, I started value investing without knowing. Let me explain to you why. For example, when the first shock lands, I know I'm going a little bit deep into Magic the Gathering term, but shock lands are a specific land that was very popular in formats. Formats are okay. Now I'm going a little bit deep. To be fair, maybe I need to explain this in an easier way. But Shocklands was a very important card at one point in time, and still is, by the way, in Magic the Gathering. And I was playing when they first released. And in Magic there is always, not always, but at the time I was playing a foil version and a non-foil version. And of course the foil version, the holo version, was much more rare. So at one point I saw a lot of my friends having Shocklands, but most of my friends do not have the foil version. So I was like, yo, maybe is a good time for me to start. I know I will pay a little bit more because markets understand this, but I started investing on the foil side of the Shocklands. And look, actually was a great investment for me because the prices for the foils stayed very, very consistent and start going up in a very good way, I would say. And for example, a couple of years late, Magic the Gathering ended up reprinting the Shocklands. And one thing that was very dramatic was the prices for the original ones end up going down quite drastically. For the foil one, I cannot lie to you, they went down quite a bit too. But when you look at the ratio, still my cards, my foil ones end up holding the value much stronger, and in the long run they actually end up going to all-time highs. Okay, this is not relevant, but it was. At that point, I actually value investing without knowing, because of course the cards have a way better eye appealing in terms of a foil versus non-foil is more rare. The demand in the future will be much higher. So I applied a lot of fundamentals without actually knowing that well. Those fundamentals that nowadays I understand much better. Okay, I made bad trades, bad sales, lost tracks, lost focus, but I learned. And this is experience. This is you need to. A lot of times you need to lost to learn. Okay, you need to face adversity. Okay, and some people don't understand this that well. Some people think that, oh look, I made a bad trade. This is the end for me. I'm over the market. That's actually the worst approach possible. Look, there is case and case. If you lost crazy amount of money that you need for your life, at that point I was a young man, so it was not relevant. My parents have financial support. They financial support my decision, so I was playing with house money, like people like to say. But again, keep in mind that you need to learn, and sometimes the better way to learn is to lose money. Okay, I know this is a debatable take for a lot of people, but for me there is no doubt on that. Not buying when a set was released. Look, Magic the Gathering released a set, or at least at the point I was collecting, end up releasing set from 3 months, and a new set. And at the time when the set comes out, all the cards are quite expensive. But if you try to buy those cards from, let's say, 1 year, or 1 year, I'm actually going too far. To be fair, if you try to buy cards actually 1 month or 2 months from the set release, prices are already quite down. 1 year it will be even more drastically. Okay, there will be of course outliers. There will be cards that will end up performing very well in certain decks for old formats like Legacy, for example. But in general, not buying at the point that the set is released tends to be a smart decision. And again, on soccer, on NBA, on sports cards, I would say you can apply this logic very easily nowadays, okay? Even on Magic or Pokemon, because when the set is released, of course you need to pay a premium for that. Do that make sense? Most of the time, of course not. So this is a hype-driven market when the set is released, and you need to avoid FOMO. Okay, the fear of missing out is crazy. People don't understand that you have another opportunity 1 month from now, 1 year from now, or sometimes 10 years from now. Okay, Magic is just my example. If you collected anything for many years, you can probably relate with my points. Okay, so I'm saying okay a lot. I don't know why. Understand collecting and accept investing. Right now on the sports cards market in general, sports card market are run by investors, flippers, traders, or any other term I don't know at this point that you want to call it. The price in most cases is the focus and not the value of the cards. I accept this fact, but I don't totally understand. I would say in 9% of my investments in the collectible side world, in collectible cards, are in cards or collectibles I love or I have a connection, okay? And this is my big advantage. Shocking, because I know almost everything about that card or about that market. A collectible item, in my experience, is something that a lot of people tend to relate any type of nostalgia or connection again. Look, for example, let me clear this very quickly. People that are buying, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo cards or Messi cards, look, in a lot of cases, or at least I want to believe that. Again, I'm talking a little bit more to collectors because they appreciate the work that Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi end up doing for soccer. They have great memories of watching Lionel Messi games or Cristiano Ronaldo games, okay? But for example, in TCGs, if you played Pokemon for many years, in competitive Pokemon, buying the cards makes a lot of sense right now. Even if you played Game Boy Color Pokemon games or watch the anime, okay? So you can see that there is always some type of nostalgia related with that type of market. And this is what tends to drive collectors, and after that investors tend to come, okay? Collecting for many years tend to mature your approach. My English is not that good today, guys, I'm sorry. Since I know a lot of people that collect, invest, historical, most of the collectors I know tend to be very successful. Look, I'm on this market for quite a couple of years at this point in the sports card market, and I have to say one thing. Historical, there is no actually data to say historical, but at least in my experience, okay, I have seen a lot of flippers, I have seen a lot of flippers traders, whatever you want to call it. A lot of them lost money, apart from last year, to be fair with you, because that last year was crazy. But even if I look in the last 6 months, I see a lot of people losing money. Collectors, I'm not saying there is exceptions, because sometimes collecting is not value investing, and you can collect things that don't perform well. But in general, at least in my experience, again, I tend to see collectors doing very well in the long run. Okay, And this is actually quite logical because collectors put much more hours looking for an item than the person that wants to make a quick buck, okay? And this goes exactly in what I have right here. A collector tends to go very deep when making a decision on buying a card. The non-collector wants a quick buck most of the time. That's why the panic sell buy is very common and is misinformed. They tend to be misinformed individuals, okay? But one thing I still have to explain, let me go back. Look, I already gave this example a couple of videos ago, but Bitcoin, apart from the Bitcoin correction or crash right now, let's say if you bought, all the people that bought Bitcoin, apart again from the all-time high that was 2 months ago or something like that, all the people that bought Bitcoin in general made money, right? No, that's not true. Because actually a lot of people that bought Bitcoin lost money. Why? Because they don't understand the value. They don't understand what they are investing. Look, I'm going to give you actual example. I have a friend that bought Bitcoin at 17K. And he bought, at that time was an all-time high for Bitcoin. And he bought and he was very happy with that. He said Bitcoin will be 1 million. You know, all the crazy things crypto maniacs tends to say. To be fair, I actually don't like a lot the crypto community, to be fair with you. But Bitcoin will be 1 million. This is the future. Blockchain is great. Blah, blah, blah. What happened? Bitcoin actually ended up crashing quite a lot. It was at the time Bitcoin went to 6K, 5K. I don't remember exactly the number. And he ended up selling Bitcoin because he was like, no, I was wrong. Bitcoin is a scam. Look, Bitcoin 2 years from now and up or 3-4 years again is not the point, is not the dates at this point, but you guys saw 1 year ago or half a year ago Bitcoin actually hit an all-time high of 60K. Look, my friend sold at 6K and he bought for 17K. If you end up holding, even on right now on the market, you still have a crazy good return. But what's the problem? Because my friend ended up investing on the price of the Bitcoin, okay? He saw Bitcoin at 7K and thought Bitcoin will be much higher than that. My friend did not invest on the value of Bitcoin, on the technology, okay? My friend did not completely understand the value of the blockchain, what the blockchain can end up doing for the world going forward. So my friend lost money, and in his mind he was like, look, I'm 50% down. But the reality was very simple. He still had the same amount of Bitcoins that he bought, even if the correction is right now 50%. So if you buy, let's say, on another coin, 10 Cardanos, and if the Cardano goes down 50%, you still hold 10 Cardanos, okay? And this is something that a lot of people need to understand. Value, price is what you pay, value is what you get, okay? And if you understand this, you will be much more okay holding stuff in the long run. And again, the reason my friend, and this is actually a true story, lost money was very simple. He did not believe on Bitcoin, or he did not understand the real value on Bitcoin, but he believed a lot in the price he was entering. When the price ended up crashing, my friend ended up crashing emotional too, okay? But if he was very sure that Bitcoin is the future, and maybe it will be, to be fair with you, this is no, of course, financial advice. But if he was very aware of this, that he was investing in price, he probably should not invest. Okay, but if you are investing in value, it will be, even if Bitcoin end up going for 5K, he still end up holding because he still believes on the technology, because he still believes in the value in the long run. It was not the case. Okay. And this is something you need to understand, because in cards you can apply exactly the same logic. Mentality and fundamentals, okay? And this is actually very similar to what I'm saying. So, I collect Yu-Gi-Oh! As most of you guys know. When I talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! You guys don't like it, but I have to say it. And of course, this channel is about soccer cards, so I collect soccer cards, most logical. For example, those two cards are two cards I own. And when you look at the PSA total for them, let's go very fast. For this card is 90, PSA 10 total is 7, and gem mint rate is a little bit over 7%. This is a little, PSA total is a little bit over than 100, PSA 10 8, and gem mint rate is very similar to this one. Why I believe, for example, those cards are great investments. And by the way, there is a link on the description for both of them if you want to check them on YouTube. This way I can share with you affiliate link and end up helping my channel, okay? So, but the reason are very easy. First of all, fundamentals. Lineage, both have great lineage. First, Ronaldo from Panini Football, great set. Red Eyes Black Dragon from Bandai, which is a crazy big company in terms of TCGs, in terms of the Japan market. History, both have great history. This is the first Ronaldo sticker from Panini, and this is the first Red Eyes Black Dragon ever. And Red Eyes Black Dragon, for those who are not aware of Yu-Gi-Oh, is one of the most important cards in the series, in the TCG collectible side, I would say. Rarity, condition. Look, when you look at the gem mint rates for those, seems quite fair at this point. We need more data, of course, to say those are most likely condition rarity. When you put in perspective with other markets, and I know there is not a lot of people grading those cards right now. To be fair, Ronaldo, I think there is a lot of people already grading Ronaldo. But when you put in perspective the PSA total, they still are quite low at this point. And when you look into the market and especially try to find those in good condition, they are not that easy at all. So you can assume that condition rarity most likely is a thing. True rarity most likely not, but condition rarity I would say almost for sure at this point, okay? Demand and potential. Look, let's talk about Ronaldo. Ronaldo is, for a lot of people, the best striker ever. So you can see if the soccer card market end up doing well, the demand will be big. And actually the demand for this card is already quite big now. But the potential in terms of demand is actually giant for a card like this. So demand and potential, check on both. On the card of the Red Eyes, I'm saying blue eyes for some reason, the Red Eyes is very easily. This is one of the most iconic cards in the series. This is the first, okay, the first Red Eyes ever made, so people will tend to navigate to a card like this if they love Yu-Gi-Oh, in my opinion. Eye appealing, this is more debatable, but I think both cards are quite beautiful, they are quite enjoyable to watch in your hand, okay? But again, I always go to the fundamentals because I know a lot of people are still not aware of this. Those are, I would say, 5 or 7 fundamental, whatever, depend how I want to look at, that I tend to look when value investing, that tend to help me a lot. Look, if one of those fundamentals are not there, should I invest, would I invest in the card? Look, it will depend, okay? For example, lineage for me is one of the most important fundamentals. Demand potentially, of course, so it will depend. For example, eye appealing, sometimes even if a card is ugly, again, this is debatable, of course, but even if the market tends to say that card is not beautiful, there is a likely scenario that I would still invest on that card as long as I feel the other fundamentals are correct. But the reason I'm sharing this with you is because, look, before assessing all those fundamentals, those are cards I really want to have in my collection, okay? The reason, and forget all the fundamentals right now, Ronaldo was one of my favorite players ever to watch, and I love soccer. I played soccer as a kid, okay? And Ronaldo was a big influence on my life. Look, I remember playing soccer with my friends, and we end up saying, oh, I'm Ronaldinho, I'm Ronaldo, you know what I mean? That type of game that kids end up doing. And of course Ronaldo is a big important of my life. Ronaldo is a big part of my friends' life. So when I show a card like this to my friends, you can see that I can make a connection with my friend. Look, this is a Ronaldo. My friend would say, oh, Ronaldo, amazing, one of the best strikers I ever saw too. And I remember memories with my friends looking at Ronaldo games in Real Madrid, for example. So this is very, very important, okay? And for example, Blue Eyes White Dragon, look, I end up loving Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. I end up playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For quite a while, not as much as Magic. I played a little bit to be fair, but look, I understand the history on this series. I understand why this brand is so strong, because as a kid I have great memories from that TV show, I would say. And Ronald, again, same logical in a different aspect. One is a TCG, one is a sport, one was an anime, one was a sport real life. But you can see how can you make connections with this. And look, when I started collecting soccer, for example, Ronaldo was one of the first players I ended up trying to look cards, because I have a connection and I found this card, and this card checks all the box for me. So again, the price, I cannot tell if it's a good investment or not. It will depend at the point you see this feed. It will depend at the point you actually end up entering the market. But if the entry point, or if you think the price is fair, again, this is no financial advice, I think this card in the long run can perform very well, because all the fundamentals are there. Same logic with the red eyes, okay? Moving on. A quick commercial, a quick ad for myself, I would say. Guys, there is actually a new video on Patreon, 5 questions in depth. You can pause the video and see and read the question. I'm not going very deep on those, but again, I end up answering them on my YouTube channel. Every week there is a new Q&A on my YouTube channel. Apart from that, on Friday there is extra audio with me talking about the soccer card market, from what I'm seeing, what I believe could be a new trend or not. In the end, is more a conversation, okay? So one thing to have in mind: if you like my content on YouTube, there is a very, very likely scenario you like my content on Patreon. Another thing, and this is even more important, if you can support me on Patreon, I believe it's $10, please don't do it, okay? I know this may sound arrogant, but I don't need your money. I need you to support me if you actually enjoy my content and you are okay financial doing. And look, of course, I will provide some type of value, some type of extra value for my Patreon members, because look, makes no sense for them to pay $10 and basically get nothing. Of course, I try to give you good value for those $10. I believe those $10 are actually a steal when you put in perspective the amount of content I put out there on Patreon. But one thing you have to keep in mind, you don't need to do it, and you should always expect free content on this YouTube channel. So if you can give a like to this video or even subscribe to my channel, more than enough. But again, if you want to check, go link on the below of the video. So build, grind, and grind. This is crucial, guys. As I was saying, do not start building your collection from the roof, building your investment from the roof. Start from the base, or otherwise this will crash, of course. But if you start from the base and you actually have a solid base, this will be much better in the long run for you, okay? Let's move on. Final ideas. Collecting is not always value investing, but in a lot of ways can make your transition easier if you start investing with value in mind. A collector in most cases will understand the long run idea. Very hard to explain this for a person without a connection let me read this again. A collector in most cases will understand the long run idea. Very hard to explain this for a person without a connection to his item, okay? Embrace the grind. The fun of investing, the fun of collecting in something like cards is the research, is the difficult on understanding the real value, is the hours spent on eBay, is the grind, okay? If you don't understand the grind, you are not there, I'm sorry. Fundamentals and time in the market will most likely guide you in a good direction. So, guys, again, just to finish the video, I strongly believe starting as a collector is, saying is necessary, I think is a strong It's a strong quote, but I believe it's very important. And if you have a good base, most likely you will end up understanding markets much better. Okay, one of the reasons you guys like my channel a lot is because I know almost everything about the cards I'm talking, because I spend hours and hours and hours doing that research. When I talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, when I talk about the Magic, look, I spent 20 years playing those games, especially Magic the Gathering. So of course I know a lot about that market, and of course I can get that knowledge and transform that knowledge in value investing. But right now the market is people that don't have any type of connection with cards, any type of understanding of the market, but they see a quick trend, in this case in a positive trend in the market, and they think, oh, I buy for $1, I sell for $2. Look, that will not work that way. Again, I buy a Messi rookie for $10. If that Messi rookie goes the next month is $5, look, I still have the same card. I still own one Messi. Okay, so again, it's the same example as my friend investing on Bitcoin. Okay, that's why in most of my videos I always say price is what you pay and value is what you get. This is a very famous quote from Warren Buffett, and this is one of the best quotes ever when you try to invest. As long as you understand price and value is not the same thing, and when you start investing in prices and investing more in value, I believe in the long run you will end up having much more success, guys. So everything for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was I would say not that long, 30 minutes or more, something like that. So guys, give a like to the video and see you guys tomorrow. Bye.